Hi, it's Colin. Make sure to subscribe to the Volume YouTube channel so you don't miss any episodes. You know, like Eli Manning did.
Eli's late. Hey, we're on this interview. You calling in? What are you doing?
What?
We're on this interview.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I forgot about it.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
Everybody's got an opinion on Aaron Rodgers. So one of the things I've realized, because I wanted to be Howard Cosell when I was 8 years old, so I've been really opinionated since I was 7, 8, 9 years old. And because of that, I've gotten pushback, blowback, gotten to arguments, been a villain in many parties I've been at. I am comfortable with that. I am okay with athletes talking about politics and non-sports ventures, being activists. But just know going in, you're going to get the smoke. And even in my career as a sportscaster in the opinion space, about 75% of the people that do it don't like the smoke, and they soften up their views on the air. Rachel Maddow can handle the smoke. Tucker Carlson can handle the smoke. Ted Cruz can handle the smoke. Bernie Sanders can handle the smoke. You know who can't? LeBron James, who said, I hated being a villain when he went to Miami. LeBron James, who in the last year has talked less about politics. And you know who else doesn't like the smoke? Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter what you and I think about him being vaccinated or not. That's his decision. But Aaron rambling for 18 minutes on Pat McAfee's YouTube page on his show, that's fine. But he didn't have the self-awareness to realize he's always been thin-skinned, he's always been sensitive, and you ramble for 18 minutes on something that's not about sports, and you're going to get the smoke. And then Aaron finally yesterday said, I'm not an advocate, I'm not an activist, I'm an athlete. I'm going to go back to playing ball. Again, I am for the athlete to have an opinion, but we live in an incredibly polarized nation. And once you move into politics, vaccines, legislation, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. You have to have the self-awareness to know, do I have a chin? Aaron's great. He doesn't have a chin. Kevin Durant's great. He doesn't have a chin. LeBron's got a stronger chin, but not a great chin. That's the reality of it. It doesn't matter what you and I think. What Aaron told you yesterday on the McAfee show is, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I want to go back to playing football. I thought it was funny that OBJ, once he was no longer a member of the Cleveland Browns, the first team he mentioned he wanted to play for was the Seattle Seahawks. And then yesterday it was reported he wants to now play for the Packers. Well, isn't that interesting? Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, almost every receiver in the league wants to play with them. And I want to be adopted by Elon Musk. That's not really the way it works, OBJ. You're really not understanding how the game works. They'll get a hold of your agent. You won't decide where you land. And I think there's a distinction here. Carmelo Anthony is a great example. It took Carmelo to get over himself for him to really ever over-deliver in his career. He was always a really good scorer. And then he eroded because he never took great care of his body. And he had injuries pile up. And remember when he laughed when it was suggested he could come off the bench for Oklahoma City? But the truth was, that's what he'd become as a player. Much like OBJ has become a number 2 or 3 receiver on a good team. And so until Carmelo Anthony could wrap his arms around what he truly was, which is a very productive bench player, now with the Lakers, until he could understand that, come to terms with it, it wasn't going to work. So Carmelo goes to the Lakers. He is now averaging 17 points a game off the bench. He is one of the best bench players in the league because he came to terms with what he is. OBJ is never healthy. You cannot build a franchise around him. He is brittle. He can be, on a weak receiving unit, a number 2. On a receiving unit like, say, the Rams, Dallas, maybe he's a 3. Until he comes to terms with that, he's going to be Carmelo Anthony. And it took Carmelo about 5 years from being a starter to really not being capable of starting on a top team for him to understand it. OBJ, you are no longer a 1. Nobody can build around you. You're simply not healthy enough. There was an incident in the NBA that's getting a lot of attention, as it should. The MVP, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, shoved Markieff Morris to the ground in very violent fashion. Of course, it should be noted that Markieff Morris virtually tackled the MVP 3 seconds before that. Now, I do think as a statesman or an MVP of the league, you're always best to walk away. Be the bigger man. Don't punch down. Literally, don't punch down. But this is something that was brought to my attention by a friend. If you're the 7th guy off the bench and you go and tackle an MVP, shouldn't the penalty be just as stiff for Morris as it is for Jokic? I mean, think about this. Hockey, baseball, football. If you send out one of your worst players to go after the best player on the other team, it's a pretty good strategy, is it not? Ooh, we both get thrown out of the game. Well, who wins then? I am not in any way defending Jokic. He's got to be the bigger man. But in sports, there are teams historically that have used that as a strategy. Send our scrub after their star. Irritate him. Push him. That has to be considered. So let's not let Markieff Morris off the hook. When a third-tier player goes after the star of a franchise and one of the top 7-8 players in the league, that almost feels like a strategy to me. I don't want to see Jokic out for 2 weeks and Morris get a slap on the wrist. There should be some sort of rule, some sliding scale of justice. How good are you? How good is the guy you went after? If you're a scrub and he's a star, let's make the punishment equal.